Hi, it's Marcus Gons of the MA Properties Online team with your Arlington market review for 2019. The data's in, we've crunched the numbers, and here's our analysis on what happened in 2019 and our predictions for what 2020 will bring. We've done this review a number of times, and historically we always start it with not enough inventory. And 2019 was very similar to that. There really wasn't enough inventory. Demand was very strong. Multiple offers were common in the below $1.5 million price ranges. And that led to an average sell price to list price ratio, which is a key metric, of 102%. Overall, the Arlington real estate market is strong, but there is some uncertainty with the economy and the perception that a housing correction may be imminent. And that's led an increasing number of buyers to be more cautious, and certainly more cautious when it comes to just buying any home and paying over the asking price. So we should be conscious of that in 2020. So in terms of the numbers, 316 properties were listed in 2019. Of that, 281 sold. So that's 11% unsold. That's a very low number. In terms of the median price, it was $805 in 2018 and it was $821 in 2019. That's only a 2% rise. So we see some of that uncertainty or some of that lack of confidence, if you will, in the buyers coming into the house price appreciation at 2% in 2019. The difference between 17 and 18 was 7%. So we see it declining, the numbers we've seen historically. We can also see that in the sell price to list price ratio. 2019, we saw a ratio of 102%, and in 2018, that was 104%. So again, a marked decrease. The number of properties that sold at or over asking was 70% in 2018, but it dropped to 60% in 2019. So you can see in that sell price to list price ratio, the house price appreciation, and also in the number of homes that sold for at or over asking, a slight weakening in the market. Having said that, we look at what this means for sellers now. It is still very much a seller's market, specifically if you focus on the fundamentals: preparation and staging, marketing, exposing the home to the market, and being conscious of the fact that the buyers are much more price conscious than they've been historically. And so pricing correctly has always been important, and even more important in 2020 as we look forward looking. In terms of the buyers in the market, less hectic than we've seen historically. We may not see that in the early part of the spring market. That's usually a time when buyers are much more hectic, much more keen to pay over asking in the early part of the spring market. As the market continues, we get into April, May, more homes come on the market, so it begins to calm down. So even though in those when there's more inventory periods, you really do, if a property comes along that ticks all the boxes, you really do need to jump on that quickly. That's key. So what does 2020 bring? Well, first thing it brings, of course, is an election in November. And that there's question marks over the economy, and is there going to be a housing correction? And that's really leading to a dampening of consumer confidence. And by consumer confidence, of course, what matters is buyer confidence. That's what we mean. So, but the fundamentals of Arlington are very strong. So demand for the town is likely to remain relatively strong. I use the word relatively strong as opposed to strong, which we would have said historically. Now, depending on the perception of that economic downturn, we anticipate price appreciation will remain weak. Remember, it was 2% in 2019. It's going to remain at that weak level. And depending on what happens in 2020, it may well even remain flat in 2020. So that's the Arlington Market Review. Lots more information in this handy booklet. You'll find it on our website. And for those of you who live in Arlington, this will have been delivered to your mailbox. Lots of information in there. This is a sneak peek. It's actually just at the printers right now, so it'll be out very, very soon. Lots of information in there. We focus on single family market, the condominium market, rental, new construction, as well as a much more expansive section on what we see will happen in 2020. So with that, I'll say goodbye and thank you for listening. Bye. you.